Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be discussing the recent talks on a potential European Premier League. Obviously, it has been floating about for a very long time. Since I've been alive, there's always been talks of what if there was to be a European Premier League, like the Champions League, but instead of a cup knockout competition, it would essentially be an MLS style competition. Before we do get into today's video, do make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We are only 50 subscribers away from 10,000. We're getting so close now, and a lot of you guys, as you can see on the screen, are not already subscribed. So it'd be much appreciated if you guys could subscribe, press that notification bell, and hit that like button. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on into today's video about the European Premier League. As I said, the European Premier League is a conversation that's been going on for a very long time now. We've always had the thoughts of what happens if the likes of Liverpool, Man United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, they're all in the same league. We'd all love to see what would happen. However, in today's video I'm going to be talking about whether I think it's the right move for football. So in terms of what's actually going on about it, FIFA have played down the idea recently, with Infantino suggesting he rates the idea, but he'd rather do a worldwide version of it. Obviously FIFA is the worldwide organisation that represents football. It's very corrupt. But yeah, they would like to get more attention on football across the globe. He suggested that clubs like Liverpool have obviously much smaller fan bases in their home countries, but have much bigger fan bases than clubs like Flamengo, who have 30 to 40 million people following them in their own country, and yet only 2 or so million people follow them outside of that country. Whereas like Liverpool, you're probably getting over 10 times as many fans worldwide as you do in England itself. The conversation of the European Premier League was brought back up by Liverpool and United. It's not a great look for them, obviously, after they brought up Project Big Picture, which was quickly shot down by other clubs. But yeah, once again, Liverpool and United bringing it up. Their American owners not getting a good reputation in England at the moment. In terms of the European Premier League, it is believed that 5 of the big 6 Premier League clubs would get an invite to the league. It would be around 18 teams most likely, which is what Liverpool and Man United wanted for the Premier League in Project Big Picture. By the way, if you don't know what Project Big Picture is, there's a video in one of the I buttons at the top. Make sure to click that so that you can keep yourself up to date with what the news of that is. Obviously, it got rejected, but it's likely that they'll bring back a new revised plan for that. The introduction of the European Premier League would likely not take place until at earliest 2024, as UEFA already have contract deals with TV brands to broadcast the Champions League. Obviously, you probably could rearrange the contracts to fix it. I'm sure broadcasting companies would happily switch their contracts from the Champions League to a European Premier League. That'd be fine. However, I doubt they would change it, and at earliest it would be 2024. As of right now, the Champions League is already expecting change in 2024. The talk is the UEFA proposing a 36-team Champions League. It is currently a 32-team Champions League as of the group stages. So yeah, it would make sense instead of this for this to be the time to bring in the European Premier League. But yeah, that is the basics of the idea of the European Premier League. I'm now going to move on to why it's bad for football. There are many reasons, and in my opinion, it is bad for football. It would completely ruin it more than it already is. There's very few positives. Obviously, I guess for City it is technically a positive. We would gain a lot from it if we were to be involved. There's every chance we wouldn't be invited because obviously UEFA and the big clubs do not like us. We are one of the most disliked clubs among the big lot. So there's every chance we wouldn't be invited, but considering how frequent we've been in the Champions League, in England no club has been in the Champions League consecutively for as long as us at the moment, so it would be hard for us not to be involved. But from a City viewpoint, it probably would be a benefit. But on the whole, I do think it's bad for football. On the whole, the main idea of this, as Figo suggested in his tweet, is it is just to separate the G14 from the rest. Obviously, there'd be 4 added extras to the G14. If you don't know what the G14 is, I explained it when I talked about why I thought Man City were going to get banned, and I talked about that. Obviously, that got overturned. But the G14 is pretty much the 14 biggest clubs in Europe, sort of historically, and they're all in the group together, and they just want to keep themselves the biggest. They want to say of everything. They want to get the biggest revenues. They want to stay big, and they do not want to let any new clubs come into it. So clubs like PSG, clubs like Man City, they want to try and keep out. Obviously, PSG are going to be allowed in because their owner is also relevant to UEFA, so they get a free pass on that one. But clubs like City, they want to avoid teams like us happening again. In terms of just an English viewpoint, this would massively separate the big 6 from the rest as well, or the 5 that are given the invite to the Premier League. If you think about the massive income differences and revenue differences it would be huge, and it would be unclosable gap to the other teams in the league. Obviously, the Premier League would lose revenue because broadcasters are going to be spending more money on the European Premier League and then probably drop off a bit on the Premier League. It would become less relevant, meaning that all the income is going to the teams in the European Premier League, meaning only 5 teams didn't get it. And it's obvious that they would just dominate the Premier League for years. In terms of what would happen to the Premier League would remain as it is. All clubs that would compete in the European Premier League would also be competing in the Premier League. However, it is likely that they wouldn't be focusing as much on it. You'd probably guess if you've got a big game against Real Madrid in the week and then you've got West Brom on the Saturday, you're probably going to rest a few players against West Brom. And even then, the clubs are going to be earning so much more, you would guess that even with a B team, they'd still be able to beat them. But yeah, the games wouldn't be as entertaining. You'd guess the league would probably become much lower quality. But as I said, the Premier League would remain as it is, and pretty much the European Premier League would just cover the midweek free slots. My guess is clubs wouldn't be competing in the Carabao Cup and stuff like that anymore. And as I said, the Champions League would be gone if this was to become an actual thing. Founder clubs of this European Super League would be safe from relegation out of the competition for 20 years, again showing they would just want to dominate for longer. Even if they do badly, they are still comfortable, and their revenue streams mean that they'll be so far clear of all the other teams that their position is not in any jeopardy whatsoever. The format for this European Super League would be MLS style, which is potentially why Liverpool and United are so desperate to try and get it done. Obviously, their American owners are trying to Americanise football at the moment. That's what they tried to do with Project Big Picture. That's what they want to do here with the European Super League. They want to try and get into that MLS style format where you have a league where everyone plays home and away. So you go 17 home games, 17 away games. Obviously, there's 18 teams in the league. And then afterwards, you'd probably say like the top 9 teams or whatever, or top 10 teams go into a playoff format, and the winners of the playoff type knockout competition would be the European champions. Away from wine and football perspective, it would be a dreadful idea. Simply focus on the fans now. It would completely destroy it. Could you imagine European fans having to travel to away games? You're talking 17 away games a year, plus the knockouts. If you get to the final, you're looking at probably an extra 5 or so games. That's 22 European trips in the space of a year. That's nearly 1 every 2 weeks in a year. That is not feasibly affordable when you consider the price of football is already unbelievably ridiculous and unaffordable as it is. Making it more expensive is just unnecessary. And similar to American football, I think it would be probably that away fans would be eradicated from football, which would be a shame because one of the peaks of being a football fan is obviously those away days. You would get to keep doing the English ones, but you know there are fans that want to be able to follow the team everywhere, every game. They don't want to miss a game, and they would be forced into missing games if it was to become this expensive. As I said earlier, big names have already come out and slated the idea. We've had Figo slate it, saying it would destroy football. Neville has also come out and he's publicly slated it, saying we're going nearer and nearer to the end of football as we know it. And yeah, it's good to see these names criticise it. And in my opinion, we're not going to see a format like this happen anytime soon. As I said at the start of the video, it seems like it comes up every few years. You kind of get new rumours about what would happen. And realistically, we're not going to see it, I think, for another 10 to 20 years at earliest. So yeah, I think we are safer now. But anyway, that is all from me in today's video. There will be another video tomorrow with the West Ham live stream, which I'll be going live for at 12:15. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as I said in this video, if you haven't already, and press that notification bell. We are pushing that 10k subscribers, so like I said, make sure you subscribe for future content. And that is all from me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.